Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for giving us a chance. So guys, we're living through a historical event. Corona time, huh? I hope you're staying safe, staying home, unless of course you're an essential worker. And if you are one, then thank you for your service in whatever field you're in. Like, we appreciate what you're doing. And I hope, honestly, I hope there's some sort of compensation in every country. I hope there's something going on. I hope that they actually compensate you guys, because you're putting your lives at risk, ultimately. Now, for those of us who are not essential workers, you're at home, you know? This video is gonna be long. So, you have all this time, right? You might as well just watch the full thing and watch all my other videos, which are also long, but you have the time. So, you know, make use of it. So I want to talk about astrology and how I've experienced different astrological signs through the people in my life. So this is going to be different from your stereotypical astro videos, which are like, oh, Capricorn is like this one is like this. For me, it's going to be like, I've experienced Leos like this. They do this. Whether it's friends, family, or dating. So I'm going to talk about all three. I don't have every single one in my life. If I don't have them like as friends or family, then I've dated them. So that type of thing. So I've experienced all of them, and I've been aware of it. So yeah, I just want to talk about just what it's like being a Capricorn in relation to these signs, basically. And I actually asked the people in my life if I could say their names, and some of them agreed. Like, some of them gave me permission to do that, but others didn't. So just to avoid having to be like, wait, did this person like give me, you know, permission to use their name? I'll just not use names at all, because it will make it easier for me as the video goes. So I'll give a quick intro to astrology. By the way, I got into astrology like, I would say 3 years ago, and I wasn't into it like at all. I remember my friend Dorsey, she's the one who was like, hey, you know, we're both Capricorns. Like, yeah, Capricorns are this and this, we're so similar. We're being like, yeah, whatever, I'm not going to believe that I'm similar to every single person born just between this time period. Doesn't make sense. Then I read more into it, because like most people, I assumed astrology meant you will only act like your sun sign, but there's more to it. You have your sun sign, your moon, your rising, your Venus, your Jupiter, like all these other things within you. So if you want to find out your birth chart, what I'm talking about is the birth chart. If you want to find out your birth chart, just ask your mom the time you were born, or your dad if you can ask your mom. And then you put in the time you're born, your birthday, and the place you were born, and it actually gives you a chart. And read through it and see if it applies to you. And if it doesn't, then I understand why you don't believe in it. But I would say most people will say at least 80% of it applies to them. And it's true. Another reason why I ended up believing in astrology was a friend of mine took me to dinner to introduce me to her other friends. And then by the end of the 2 hours, I was able to guess what element they're in. I wasn't able to guess exactly what sign they are, because I'm not a professional, which I should have said, but I'm not a professional. I just have such passion. As I always do in every other video I talk about how I'm not a professional, but I just have passion in it. So yeah, I'm not a professional. As you can see, since I always preface all my videos, I'm a master at nothing. Anyway, passion. So, well, like I was saying, at the end of the 2 hours, I was able to guess what element they were in, not exactly what sign, but just the fact that I was able to guess correctly what elements they're in, proved to me even farther that astrology is real. We're able, like, come on, how are we able to guess what people are if it's not real? Like, I understand that the science behind it is not, like, you know, and especially also religious people tend to not believe in it. So I get all that, but I believe in science and God, and I still believe in it, I'll just say. So anyway, a quick intro for those who don't know much about astrology. So there's 12 zodiac signs. There's actually some classification that says there's 13, and according to that one, I'd be a Sagittarius, and God forbid. I like being Capricorn. I wouldn't want to be a Sag. I love them, but I enjoy being Capricorn. Anyway, so there's 12 zodiac signs. Just think 12 months, 12 zodiac signs. They don't go according to the months, of course. The first zodiac sign, according to that calendar, is Aries, and then Taurus, blah blah blah. So it tends to go fire, earth, air, water. Fire. Then it keeps repeating like that. So there's 12 zodiac signs and 4 elements. The 12 zodiac signs fall in 4 wow. Yeah, I'm gonna make a lot of shrubs. In 4 elements: air, water, fire, earth. The air signs: Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. Fire signs: Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. Earth signs: Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, and water signs: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So there's a lot behind all of them. There's, you know, like there's what they're represented by, what planets they're ruled by. For example, we're represented Capricorns. I'm a Capricorn. Did I already say that? if I didn't say that, guys, I'm a Capricorn, and I enjoy being a Capricorn. I did already mention, you know what, okay. Anyways, Capricorn is represented by the sea gods, and we are ruled by Saturn, the planet Saturn. And Saturn is responsible for timing and karma and discipline. So actually, one thing that's known about us, a friend of mine called me God's wrath on earth, and it's because of the way, like, no one believes in karma, in discipline, and in timing, and in fairness, like a Capricorn. Which is why, like, if some injustice is going on, we're always the ones who are like, this person deserves this. Like, we always want people to get what they deserve. We understand the world is unfair, but we always want people to get what they deserve. And if in some way we can contribute to them getting what they deserve, we will. So we're the kind of people who are like, no. Like, we will behave towards you in a way we feel you deserve. So that's why I said God's wrath on earth, because I always feel like I need to, like, not punish, and it's not like I think I'm, God or whatever, but it's just, anyway, I digress. I'll talk about Capricorn last, even though I decided to talk about it. So, sorry, back to the introduction. So yes, different signs are ruled by different planets. So like Leo is ruled by the Sun, Cancer by the Moon, Sagittarius by Jupiter, I think Libra by Venus, and also I think Taurus, they're Venetians, both of them. Anyways, so like different planets are ruled by different signs are ruled by different planets. And then there's also classifying them according to whether cardinal signs, fixed signs, or mutable signs. Cardinal beginning different seasons, and also they're the signs that tend to like kickstart things. Like so yeah, it's a whole thing. Like, so look into it. And then there's also talking about sister signs. So sister signs is your opposite sign. It's basically, for example, as a Capricorn, my sister sign is Cancer. So if you're an earth sign, your sister sign would be a water sign. If you're a fire sign, your sister sign would be an earth sign. So they tend to say, for example, you will behave completely opposite. Some of the things that you do will be completely opposite from your sister sign, and some things you have similar things, but then similar qualities. Sorry, I'm trying to talk fast because I talk a lot, and this is a long video, 12 signs that I have to talk about, so that's why I'll keep talking over myself. But yeah, so you behave a lot like each other, but there's things that are starkly opposite. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. I hope I haven't forgotten anything in my introduction. I always have such long intros. Anyway, so I'll start with air signs. So for the air signs, I'll start with Libra. I have a Libra family member, and through her, I've experienced Libras can be so shady, and that's stereotypical. So she fits the stereotype with that. They can be so shady. Some of the things this girl says, I'm like, but I thought you're friends with this person. Now, I'm not calling them two-faced, but I feel like air signs have this, I don't know, maybe not all of them. I feel like Aquarius not so much, but Libra and Gemini, they can coexist with people that they don't like. That's one thing I've noticed about them very easily. I admire it, because at the end of the day, you won't always like people. It's just that you have to coexist with them. For me, I feel like I show my irritation when I don't like someone, don't know. But I feel like air signs, they tend to work around that. But if they, like, when that person's not there, they can say some shady ass things about them. And so they can be perceived as judgmental as well. They are represented by the scale, actually, because, and I can see how with her it's true, because she can be very indecisive, because she's always weighing like the pros and cons of things. And I feel like even Capricorns do that, but we'll make a decision, whereas they're definitely indecisive as a result. So my advice for, if you have a Libra in your life, and they trust you and you trust each other, so you're close enough for me to advise you to do this, what you should do when you see them going into their indecisive, just make the decisions for them, and do not give them a choice. Honestly, that's the best advice I can give you. Like with my family member, when I can see that, I'll give her time to, sit on a decision, and I'll be like, all right, this is what you should do. Legit, like, because they can just stay so stuck on something, and it's good for them to have someone who's like, no, just do this. And then once they make that decision, I guess they can blame you. If I'm okay with them like blaming me for things, but so if you're one of those people who's also okay with having the responsibility, I think it's important for them to have someone like that. I think it helps. And then another thing about Libras is, okay, so Libras, I feel like they're non-confrontational. That's one thing about them. And as a result, if they're feeling some type of way, they might, and they like, if they're feeling some type of way, or if they know that something they've done is something that you don't like, they might end up lying to you about it, which is also another reason why they're seen as people pleasers. And so I'm thinking about the Libras, that including the ones that I've dated, and I can see how they're like that. So in fact, with the guy that I was dating, that's one of the reasons I ended up breaking up with him, was because I was always bringing up stuff that I had an issue with, because that's how I am. If I have an issue with something, I'll bring it up to you because I feel like we should work on this, so let me bring it up. Whereas he would never bring up things, and I'd be like, so first of all, we both know I'm not perfect, tell me. And he just wouldn't bring up things. And it's not like as if I was doing things intentionally for him to bring up, but I was just like, I don't understand, like, what, I feel like I always want to work on my relationships, and if I'm the only one who's bringing up stuff, then it makes me feel like I'm the only one who cares about it. So that was part of the reason I broke up with him, and it just, but yeah. However, another thing that they have going for them is they're very, I think Libras are very smart. Air signs and earth signs, actually, we're known as the smart ones. It's not me. I'm not saying the others are dumb, I'm just saying the way it is. And so he was one of those people who, when I'm dating a guy, I find it very important to be able to, I wouldn't say that I want to be the more talkative one, but I'm comfortable being the more talkative one, and I'm actually used to that. However, the only men who I'm very comfortable with being more talkative than me, if I'm being honest. Like I'm okay with both of us being equally talkative and me being the more talkative one. But I think only air signs are the ones that I'm mostly okay with them being more talkative than me. Because air signs tend to be very intellectual, and as a Capricorn, we love someone being smarter than us, actually, because it means we're always going to be expanding our knowledge around this person. So that's one thing I noted with him. He was smart, like both just general knowledge and emotionally intelligent and all these things. So I enjoyed just listening to him talk. Like he would talk and I'd be like, wow, this nigga really talks. How come he doesn't bother me? And he was like, but I'm always learning, so it's fine. So that's something that I noticed with them. Libras are very flirty, and Libras are so flirty. They're so flirty. They're the kind of people who flirt themselves into a relationship, number one. And number two, they're so flirty that they use that to get their way. Like with I almost said like what relation my family member is, because then it'll be obvious who I'm talking about for those who know her. Anyways, like with her, for example, she was in a relationship, right? But then there was this guy who was feeling her, and then something happened to her phone, and she was never going to give this guy a chance, but somehow she got him to buy her a phone, and I was like, teach me your ways, queen, teach me your ways. Like, she's so, mind you, she would never ever give the other guy a chance, but just the way they know how to finesse things out of people. So that's something I admire about Libras. I admire that shit. Oh, Kim Kardashian is a Libra. I don't know, it was just a fact that came up in mind as I was thinking of her. But yeah, so I think they're very, no, I wouldn't say that they're cheaters, but they're very flirty. They're very flirty. And I think it goes back to the whole people pleaser thing. I think they just want people to be just like, they're very charming, too charming for their own good, basically. The next one that I'll talk about is Gemini. Gemini, I have friends. I've had friends who are Geminis, and I have a current friend who's a Gemini, who I'm really close to. But the ones who I'm not friends with, I think Gemini has been the only sign that has just cut me off, like, and never heard from them ever again. And the thing is, Capricorns are known for cutting off people, but the difference between us and Geminis is when we decide to cut off someone, it means we've actually brought up an issue. We've brought up the thing that made us cut them off. We've brought that thing up several times. We've given you several chances. Well, okay, not several, but maybe like 4 chances. And so by the 5th time, it's like, you know what, fuck you, we just cut you off without telling you. Whereas Gemini, you would do something and just be like, all right, peace. And you'll never hear from them again. And so that kind of point, you'd be like, what the fuck did I do? Whereas at least with Capricorn, you will know you will know what you did by the time we cut you off. But anyway, yeah, so that's been Gemini. What I like about them and my current friend is they know how to, I admire how you can talk about something that's grave, like a grave situation, in such a light way. Like, it doesn't, Because like it can be such a heavy topic, but they'll still be able to handle and talk about it with you in a way that doesn't make it feel as heavy as that topic is. And so I admire that. It's very interesting that they're able to do that. It's not that they take away from the gravity of the situation or that they dismiss it. They can, but it doesn't mean necessarily that they will. So I admire that, because I don't know how to, if something's very serious and I approach it with such seriousness, whereas they're able to still do that well. What else do I like about Geminis? It's true. Yep, the Geminis in my life have been very talkative, so that's true in regards to their stereotypes about them being talkative. Two-faced. Two-faced, I wouldn't say they're necessarily two-faced. But I think, like I said before, both Libra and Gemini are good at existing around people that they don't like. I'll just put that. It can be a strength and a weakness. So if they use it right, then it's a strength. So that's something that I would say about them is maybe not two-faced, but they're sly. They know how to exist around people that they don't like, and you not even know that they don't like you. So I don't think I necessarily like that, because if you don't like me, then I want to know that you don't like me. I prefer things, like show me your hand type of thing. But yeah, Gemini men that I've dated. Oh wait, I want to say something about Libra men. I tend to feel like, there's some signs as I go through the signs. There's some signs of men that I tend to feel like, like you can have them on a leash. And honestly, I don't know what it is, but Libra men, I feel like I can have them on a leash, and that sounds bad, but it's been an interesting realization. I feel like they're the kind of people who, if I decide that I want them to remember me for the rest of my life, they will. So I find that I like them for that. Okay, so Gemini, dating Gemini men. So with all air sign men, one thing I've noticed is I've never really been able to completely stay in a relationship with them, except the Libra that I talked about. But other earth sign men, I've never been able to, other air sign men, I've never been able to be in long relationships with them, because they tend to, I feel like I never, how can I put it? I feel like I don't end up feeling them feel soft around me. Now, I know I told you that with Libra men, I feel like I can keep them on a leash. But there's a certain softness that I like in my men when I'm dating them. And I feel like air sign men are able to hide that softness from me, and therefore I feel like I'm not getting to them and the way I need to. I hope I made sense. Alright, so that's it on Gemini. Yeah, I know, Gemini is actually really hated, even by many signs. Even people who don't believe in astrology have heard things about Gemini slander. Gemini and Scorpio tend to get the brunt of, astrological slander. So a bit with Sagittarius. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, there was a time when I really didn't like them too, but I've become more understanding of them. I feel like astrology actually helps me understand people. So as a result, I don't know, I don't hate them though as much. I'm more careful about being friends with them, for sure, because I told you literally a couple of Geminis, they're the only ones who've ever cut me off without a word. So I'm more careful with being friends with them, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily, at this point, the Gemini that I have in my life, I think she's going to be the only Gemini that I allow that close to me, honestly, moving forward. Aquarius, my mom was an Aquarius. I feel like though the things that I would say were Aquarian about her were also mom-like, so I don't know if yeah, she's the only Aquarius. I haven't had Aquarius friends, even though they tend to say Capricorn and Aquarius get along together, especially because Saturn has an influence on Aquarius too. Because I told you Saturn rules Capricorn, and then Aquarius season comes after Capricorn. So as we're moving into Aquarius, Saturn is still doing its thing. So we tend to get along for sure, but I haven't had that many close. I haven't been close to Aquarians. But my mom, I would say she was very Aquarian in the way that she wanted her space. So we live in Kenya, but we also have a lot of stuff, businesses and stuff in Uganda. And so I feel like she enjoyed going to Uganda to check on our businesses and stuff. But I felt like it was more of she enjoyed having that space and that freedom from us. Not like she needed to shuck her responsibility or anything, but I think that's just how they are. I think they tend to like their space. They're the kind of people who are okay, I like you can hug me, and it's like, all right, I need my space. That's how I see them, and physically that's how my mom was. It was like crush her in a hug, and she'd be like, all right, there's enough love. But she was a warm woman. It's just that I just think it's very interesting how they're like that. Because I told you I haven't had Aquarius friends. Dating Aquarian men, they're the biggest ones. In fact, more than Gemini and Libra. I feel like I just, when I'm dating someone, I want to feel them, like, it becomes soft for me. I need that. That's the only way I'll allow myself to fall for someone, which is a whole different topic because I've never actually allowed myself to fall in love. But anyways, the point is, Aquarian men, I feel like would be the last men that I ever fall in love with, because each one that and I haven't dated them for like long-term dating for this reason, but they just do not show me that they're melting for me. They hide it, which is something earth sign people do. But I feel like earth sign men, I tend to see it more than with air sign, than Aquarian men. So yeah, as a result, I just feel like, yeah. But I like that they're very intellectual. That's been true for them. I also like listening to them talk and learning from them. What else? They've been odd. The Aquarian men that I've dated, they've been odd. They've been different, as in they tend to behave a bit differently from society. So that's one thing about that I would say for sure. Both with my mom, and experiencing Aquarians through the men that I've dated, they do tend to. They're not gonna look like everyone else for sure. Like they don't tend to. What's the word? Why can't I think of words? I feel like they're the kind of people who don't tend to want to adjust to fit society's standard in any way. So that's been definitely true. So yes, that's air.